Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Play Combat Mission, Afrika Korps. So now turn 12 in Assault on Perano, Italian town. And the last turn 11, where we left off, we had faced some adversity in the form of the anti-tank gun and Martyr 2 that is having a look now after his buddy, Stoke 3, has been knocked out by Shermans. Now this Martyr 2 is a crack unit, so we need to take care of it as much as possible. 2 mortar units are on it, but I think the Shermans will have to face it on the other side. That's why I'm sending 3 or 4 Shermans, 3 Shermans because one has been knocked out, to the right side to find some high ground, because I think that we are able to get line of sight there. Here I'm trying to move the Shermans on the main road on this incline to try to poke its head out, see what is happening before we cross the river. I don't know, this guy is kind of confused, I don't know what he's doing, backing off or something, or repositioning. I don't think I gave that order to them. And the soldiers, I think the one group has almost made it down to the river. These groups are now trying to follow suit, but unfortunately the Germans got a wind of what is happening and now shooting at us on the exposed side. I don't think it's really exposed, I don't think it's open ground. However, they're getting shot still with high explosive shells like that. You know, they have some rocks to protect them, rocky terrain, but it's going to seriously hamper their progress. Yeah, that was pretty close call. Pinned, not doing anything. But I think one group has made it back. And here is a martyr. Fortunately for us, the Sherman 3 is on the right side, waiting for us, and also these guys get disoriented because of the artillery shelling. Kind of a fortuitous situation here. Oh yeah, he found our Shermans. 3 Shermans that are now targeting it. Has been penetrated, upper hull, but I don't think it's knocked out yet. It's a crack unit, and crack unit always has 2 lives, or 3. And this Panzer 4 now buttoned up, perhaps limiting line of sight. You know, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, throttle damage, first throttle damage. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing this artillery shelling, although I don't really think that it's going to really destroy any armored vehicles. If it was a half-track, maybe possible, with Martyr, could be possible, but I don't think tank can be destroyed. Just to provide covering fire as our infantry is trying to go down to the river and cross it. And if they ever come close, it's going to be basically sitting duck. It's not going to be pretty, so I'm trying to dissuade them from coming or being too curious. Now, turn 13, I'm trying to readjust our artillery, one of them definitely facing or targeting that area where we identified the anti-tank gun in the mountain pass. Martyr 2 has been destroyed. That was pretty lucky, because if it was able to have a bead on one of our tanks there, we've surely been able to knock at least one out, because it's a crack unit, probably a crack shot. Yeah, so the artillery shelling the positions, but the German defense is undeterred. Except for here, this is on the right side, where we already have some units over the river, and these guys are curious, they want to have a look, but the Shermans are now deterring that. And these guys, some of the groups already on the left side, also making their way down the river. Not for these guys though, because they're still caught between a rock and a hard place. And then Shermans are now finding some opportune targets, or target opportunity, sorry. And this guy still don't know what to do. I think they're disoriented. Their gun was damaged, so it's not going to be useful at all. It's buttoned up, doesn't really see what is happening. I'm sure the other 2 tanks are radioing frantically to just stop where it is. And it was moving around, it was destroyed. The anti-tank gun is surely elite unit, the best unit crack shot that they have, because it doesn't miss. Like one sliver of backside of tank showing it was able to target it and destroy it. Now, turn 14, I think, one of the artillery spotter has expanded all its shells, so we have only 2 left. We are taking aim at the Stoke 3, seems to be more lethal threatening than the Panzer IV-E, which is stubby gun. And now we're trying to still make our way across the river. And yeah, the objective doesn't show the German flag anymore, so I don't know what happened. Maybe because Marder 2 was destroyed, its claim on that area has been dismissed or something. Yeah, so it's all question mark. They don't really know what is happening there. Although turn before, they fully were sure that the Germans had that area fully under their control. The Stuk 3 is now turning to face the Shermans that destroyed that Marder 2. I guess it was trying to see what is happening there and then even better target any of them. But the Stuk 3 doesn't know that I sent my main Shermans over the hill. So it is now poking its head and aiming at this Stuk 3 directly. And it was able to hit it on one try. First try. It was very lucky, able to even destroy it. One more Panzer has been knocked out, so that's really good. My Sherman was destroyed right after that. Right after knocking the Stuk 3 and now aiming at Panzer 4, it was being shot at somewhere, and I don't think Panzer 4F here was able to shoot it because it's moving backward. Never seen German Panzer shooting while in transit, while moving. I've seen it shooting right after it stopped. That's where their improved optics come in, where their skill of the tank crews come in, but I've never seen it before, so it must be that there is some other gun somewhere shooting at our tanks that expose themselves over that incline. So I need to look for it, and also need to provide covering fire for the advancing infantry now. Some of them have already crossed the river. The group on the left is just starting to cross the river. I don't know what river it is, but yeah, it is crossing it. The tanks trying to also move on the main road and waiting for the artillery shelling here so that the rest of the tanks on the other side is able to move or do anything. On the right side, the tank is trying to move up to a higher position to aim better now that the tank threat on that side has been eliminated. Or so I thought. The last Sherman to try to go over the hill has been knocked out, and I identified what it was. It was another gun that was over the hill, on the hill that was targeting it. He was able to destroy it in very short order. One of those 75mm packs. They really positioned themselves in a good position.
Schütze, Feindinfanterie, Feuer frei!
And now it is targeting the infantry. With its high explosive shells and cause some injury here. As you can see, they're now in panic, trying to run.
Come on, get a move on.
Many of them are pinned. They're not able to advance as quickly to bring up the rear of the guys who are now crossing the river. And unfortunately, they're also being seen by the Germans, who have curiously set up themselves. Their machine guns are now in place, entrenched in foxholes. Yeah, among the trees, no less. I mean, I am targeting that area using their artillery, but they have seen what is going on and now being set up all around us to try to bottle us in. And finally, the artillery shelling is happening near that gun in the mountain pass. It's not a direct shot, but you never know unless you actually go there and see for yourself what has happened. Hoping for the best though. I mean, it is a pretty sizable explosions all around. Turn 16. The group is undaunted. They're still moving under the machine gun fire. Although, you know, it must be said that they are still in cover. Then they can basically pin themselves and make themselves rather hard to hit. One artillery spotter, I think I made a mistake here. No, I don't think I made a mistake here. I am trying to target the German defenses just identified in the last turn in the brush on the outskirts of the town. looking downward at our advancing New Zealanders. As you can see, we crossed the river there and then now trying to link up to climb up the hill toward the town. And also wondering what happened to the anti-tank gun that has just been shelled by the artillery. Other side, I have given order to adjust artillery to target the other anti-tank gun that just destroyed 2 of our Shermans. And this Sherman on the right side has finally found the footing where it likes. It's able to see what is happening and now striking the newly identified target. So, I mean, trying to provide covering fire for the guys. Easy make their treacherous run up toward the town. And these guys are still being hit. Yeah, they're definitely exposed. And this guy, particular guy, has been routed before, so. Oh my goodness, yeah, gun damage, so nothing has been knocked out yet, but just as it was getting out of its line of sight, it was targeted and was destroyed. So the German anti-tank gun is still surviving and not missing a beat. Definitely a crack unit, at least.
Move it, move it, move it!
We are trying to provide some support for the guys who just crossed the river, as I said. More tanks join in. I think 3 tanks will be able to do a pretty good job. If push comes to shove, I can make those tanks cross into rocky area and close the distance a bit, but I'm always afraid of the tanks breaking down on this terrain. It's going to be counted against me in the final tally. Yeah, so we have made across the river. In the next turn, we follow suit, and as you can see, the area target just above them being smoke rounds. So I want to smoke that area so that we are able to move up in the general confusion and fog of war or smoke of war. So that's basically it. We're going to be facing some heavy resistance if the smoke rounds do not work, because Germans are able to see us in open ground now moving and looking down at us to boot. Yeah, these guys really are curious. Yeah, they just want to see what is happening there and try and relay the position. Maybe they can bring down the artillery or something. They have artillery spotters to remain. But he's being deterred by the Shermans. Oh my goodness, got shot. They can see us, definitely. These guys were able to make it before the Germans were in place. But we are undeterred, we are still running, especially that guy, that lieutenant guy. Oh, okay, he stopped. The Shermans are finding all the targets in the world. Like these guys. Shooting at our guys across the ravine. But unbeknownst to them, we already crossed. Some of the units already crossed. And he's climbing up through the smoke. As you can see, the smoke rounds work, preparing for us to climb toward the town. So basically the same thing in turn 18. As you can see, the Germans have their towns back. Or we identified the towns under German hands once again. Seeing all these new German units popping up. Now these guys kind of pinned, still under fire, unfortunately. So some of them, not routed, all of them, but they're taking cover. So I mean, I can give them sneak command, but it's basically too slow. They're like crawling basically, so I want them to move or just get out of the line of sight. As more and more smoke rounds will be affecting the area. And we're also giving them targets, the Sherman's targets, so that they can provide covering fire and then pin them so that they cannot shoot at us. We are targeting these guys. Yeah, we are targeting 2 areas, it seems. And that German guy, the curious German guy, is still trying to look over the hill and see what is happening down the slope. As we slowly climbing up. They're really fast though. Yeah, they really adapt at climbing up. They're like mountaineers or something. I'm surprised at the speed of how they are able to close the distance. I mean, they are enlarged representations, so I guess they look like giants walking among the trees. I mean, it's a pretty good speed. I like to think that because of the smoke that the Germans are not able to see us. I mean, they cannot see us right now. Maybe it did work. Maybe the smoke rounds did help in closing the distance and climbing up the hill to face them directly. We are being shot at, of course being found out, although we are in smoke, by these guys. The curious German guy retreating right now. And got shot and eliminated, unfortunately for them. So they know that we are here. And the next turn will be very interesting what's going to happen, because I give them order to advance a little bit, just a little bit, like move to contact, represented by the blue lines. Now we have a new target for the tanks, I think. Perhaps just area target, believing that high explosive shells will cause enough damage around it in order to dissuade the Germans, at least to get pinned down. And we are moving up. Two groups are moving up, just as the last group beginning to cross the river, some of them at least, leading by one of the HQ unit. And this artillery shelling cannot come fast enough against that anti-tank gun, so that we can take care of that Panzer and also move the Shermans up. Right now we don't have the line of sight, and there are two broken tanks blocking the road, so we need to think about how to navigate around those two knocked out tanks. So we finally made it up, and now we are fully engaged in battle. Now we want to go around the right side toward that flag, but this guy jumps out ahead, leads the charge. He's being caught by multiple different machine guns on all sides.
Oh my god, oh my god!
My eardrums are giving up. Yeah. Some of the units on the German side are also pinned down because of the tanks. But we are not in a really good position surrounded by the German defenses. Yeah, we really need to expand our targeting range for the Germans. And these guys are shooting, of course, using machine guns and whatnot. Covering fire for these guys as well, as they come up to their destination. MG42, it seems, very effective and powerful gun, and was able to eliminate our HQ unit. So the guys who made up the hill are without their leader now, so they're in more trouble. Finally, the artillery began to shell this position that overlooks the hill alongside the main road, and is able to knock it out. Good riddance. Now our Shermans can move up the main road and target more targets that are basically suffocating our first group near the town. So unfortunately one unit, HQ unit has been knocked out, eliminated. The next turn 20. Yeah, so I readjust the tanks to now target visible targets instead of area fire. So we are actively now seeking the targets to try to provide even more covering fire as more and more troops are closing in. The town's still under, all the town objectives still under German control. This guy is having none of it. They want to retreat back because of the ferocity of the fire. Is this German guy stupid or what? He's actually trying to close the distance using the machine gun and see what he's up. After having eliminated our HQ unit, he's being targeted by multiple units, including the tanks. This guy is now in trouble. Getting too close, and I mean, we are smartly trying to do everything to dissuade him from setting up. Kill them all, he says. Even the tanks have noticed it, I think. grenade and a heavy small arms fire is able to convince this German to surrender. Surrender on the top of that ledge. And as you can see, we are trying to dissuade or soften these guys up a bit and to prevent them from shooting at our infantry. Fairly effective, they are pretty accurate, and after a couple of shots they're able to be more accurate, and finally he's able to repel this German. But more German guns are around the area, so need to be careful. Maybe I should smoke the area once again to try to rush toward at least one objective on the right. Yeah, so most of the units on the side of the hill toward Perano are pinned down, being shot at. Only one artillery spotter remains, and we are targeting at the German guns in the middle. We're continuing to aim at it, but now with the tanks free to advance on the main road, it's trying to move to contact, and this is how it really looks like. Realistic proportions. So we need to navigate around the road, so it's going to take some time as we have to climb up open ground, it seems. And we are trying to target the infantry on the left side, prevent them from moving too close and outflank us as we try to make our way into the town. And the second group now are trying to reinforce the toehold we have in Perano, as well as crossing the river. Yeah, so let's see what happens. Still being shot at. I think some of the German units shooting at us from this area are elite units, or at least crack units. They're pretty good and hardy. Not moving around the tanks. Identified and contacted the enemy. And this guy is now reinforcing the area and trying to move right in order to take over the objective. Still being shot at, but also the tanks are helping our infantry on that side. So move to contact is a pretty variable command. It is really good. I mean, it moves just enough so that it's able to identify enemy and it starts shooting, and most often it means that we are going to be shooting from hull down position. One thing bad about it is that it doesn't advance as quick as, for example, hunt command. Hunt command also identifies targets, but then I think more emphasis is given to move the unit toward the area where I set the command to. So it's still going to move, even if, hey, look at that, we finally took over one side of the town. It's a really good news. I think the German presence is lagging there, kind of sagging, and we can reinforce that position and also bring more troops there in order to prepare for counterattack if there's any. I still haven't really used find hull down position, but I mean there might be some opportunities for me, especially in defensive missions, to use that command if I get to defend certain positions and I need to find hull down as quick as possible. So the next turn 22. Yeah, so the Sherman finally moves and then identify the target once again. I think one of the infantry units. Yeah, oh, this is just by an inch or something. He's able to identify it and then hit it. Yeah, these guys are pretty good. The German guys still keep moving and trying to close the distance here. As they well should be, they know that there's a New Zealand flag now flying.
Engage enemy
On the other side of Perano. And I don't think that is actually a really variable target, true target. Although I guess he's trying to push it away from the objective. And these Shermans are helping, definitely. With the machine guns and explosive fire. And some of them have already made it. Yeah, they're really quick. The Germans are pretty quick too. We are also moving. Oh my goodness, we just lost a unit or two. There's certain Germans inside the town aiming at us. Yeah, right there, for example. So it's just waiting down there. Yeah, trying to ambush us as we cross into the entrance of the town. Maybe I should just use one of the buildings to hide our progress. But I couldn't really prepare for the hidden German unit ambushing. So next turn I try to target where we found the Germans inside the town that is threatening to take back our objective. And the Shermans are now moving. I should have done that a bit quicker in turn 21st, where it was just after the anti-tank gun was destroyed. But now you see the difference between the move to contact and hunt command, I think. It's still going to move as it finds additional targets. The question is whether we are able to make it across into Perano in order to bolster that area where we just took. Here is still intact tank as a 4F, and this just missed, as you can see, whizzed by. And more tanks are now trying to stay on the main road, even pushing the broken down tank away from its direction. Pretty interesting. I don't know whether it could actually do that. Powerful enough, it's able to make it across in full view now. If there were more additional anti-tank guns, now would be the perfect time to aim at the Shermans. It's going to be like a turkey shoot, because it's really slow getting up the incline. These guys are now retreating. I think its main gun has been disabled. Yeah, so that's why it couldn't really shoot. But it's still able to shoot the MG, but no match for the Shermans now. Keep targeting it and knocking it out. Yeah, you can see the flame. That means that it's definitely knocked out. With the tanker now popping out underneath. I never seen a tanker from a destroyed tank coming out on the top hatch. Just always underneath the tank. Always appears from underneath the tank.
Cease fire.
Yeah, more tank action here, aiming at the unit, but sometimes it misses and destroys a house. What can you do? I mean, the Germans made it weaker. I don't know what happened, but just one tank shot. Most times he's able to withstand a few shots before getting completely destroyed. Yeah, we're crawling to our objective, and you can see the other side of the town still under German control. We're able to shoot. Yeah, these guys. I found out these guys also hiding in the house, and identify it with sharp eyes and putting some small arms fire into that hiding spot. And you can see that the German lost control on the other side of the town as well, so we are kind of pushing them and straining them now. I think the tide has turned a bit. And the final turn is just trying to get more bodies into the objective so we don't lose them, we don't lose it. And meanwhile trying to move all these guys up still and resist any kind of flanking maneuver from the Germans. Yeah, and this guy still shooting. Yeah, but then now the artillery started landing. It took like really, not a lot of delay between the adjustment. And now you can see the hunt command in effect. The tank is moving and still identifying, as you can see. I don't think not as thoroughly because it's moving and shooting, which is something that I don't really see often, especially using the turret. I heard the Shermans were equipped with gyroscopic stabilizers that allow them to shoot while they're in transit, but I really don't see it happening a lot. So I guess they didn't really like it. They didn't really like to waste any shells. And this guy is trying to get out of the house. He has had enough. because of concentration of fire, and he was able to get out just as the house was destroyed by the artillery shell. So this guy is really lucky. He's able to go across the street to confess his sins in the church or something, and found out to be a German officer, a company headquarters unit. So it's really lucky they was able to escape the crumbling house that was exploded to bits right after he got out of the door. And we are pushing them, but I don't know, that the New Zealand flag has to stay for us to actually win, because victory condition is really thin, 45% to 43% as you can see. And morale is still pretty high, definitely higher than the Germans, I bet. But victory condition is very set, and I lost some tanks, so maybe that's going to be taken into account as well. So in the final turn, we are trying to push on ahead and transform the area in order to finally stamp this area under our influence. I don't see a lot of Germans anymore, except for that company headquarters guy trying to cross the street into the church. So we are now moving to contact. In retrospect, I should have given some of these units at least a fast move command or even a move command for the flag. Yeah, so some German units still around, but I think they're pinned and not really willing to fight or put up much resistance unless we go up right up their nose. The tanks are not moving on the main road. I don't think they'll be able to cross the bridge, but it is open to them. So if I am able to get at least an extra turn or two, the tanks will be able to cross it. We get shot as we go near the... yeah, he was trying to ambush us from there as well. So yeah, German infantry has been all around the area and is making things really difficult for us. It's still constantly moving and readjusting its lines, and yeah, its defense has been rather superb in my opinion. Especially taking over that ledge around the town in order to face us as we trying to climb up the hill, climb up to their position. Yeah. So another house destroyed. I mean, that's hiding spot for the Germans, I guess. In the Beyond Overlord, even if the house gets destroyed, the units within were not eradicated completely. We lost a couple of soldiers, but they were able to survive. And now they have rubble for the cover, which is, in my opinion, superior cover. And the German HQ unit has made it to the church safely, so he's able to now get even more cover and yeah, survive to the end of the mission. I think this is it. No extra turn, and look at that. I suffered a minor defeat. I was really kind of surprised at what happened. I mean, I was leading like by the just razor thin margin, but I don't know what happened. And you can see that yeah, the Germans have taken not only their own side of the town, but exert enough control to take our objective from us. So this is under contention, and that's the result of why I was handed a minor defeat. Yeah, it's kind of weird. There's a mortar unit. Kind of weird that these two units, that there was a HQ unit and there's another unit, there was a crew that was from the destroyed tank, and some of these units are panicked. On this side of town, yeah, you have your anti-tank hunter team. Interesting. The 2-people unit that is specifically designed to hide and throw anti-tank grenade. I don't know if you have seen it, but there was actually another unit inside the house beside the church. And this is the unit that was also trying to hide from us and lying in ambush, a flamethrower. So it was, all these units were able to exert enough control to take, our objective and victory away from us. I mean, if I had a couple more turns, I could have turned the tide and assured at least a minor victory. And there's an extra tank. Yeah, the Germans had. interesting. It didn't get involved in any kind of fighting. And this is the bane of my existence on the right side. It was able to destroy 3 Shermans and 4 infantry casualty. Cost 4 infantry casualty. Yeah, that was a very good unit, and it's a veteran experienced unit. So I couldn't do anything against it. I really needed the artillery to destroy it just on the left side, but wasn't able to with its limited ammo. I was able to destroy some of these tanks without, much trouble, fortunately. But yeah, and speaking of Shermans, speaking of tanks, I think I should have been more bold with the tanks. I should have not only used the, hunt command instead of move to contact command, but for some of them even move fast. So give them fast move command to cross the bridge, so that we're able to attack the town on both sides using Shermans. Yeah, so that was it. Minor defeat. Kind of interesting to see that he had more men, so I think this scenario was designed for us to kind of rush against the well-fortified German position. And it kind of said in the scenario that it was thought that it was just a minor outpost and didn't have any heavy armor or anything like that, but of course it was, all set up for a nasty surprise. Flags Hell 300. Yeah, I mean, I think they caused more casualties on the merit of destroying 6 of our tanks. 6 tanks. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I should have at least taken one objective that would have given me either minor victory or even a draw. But as things stand, it's 60% to 40% final score. Yeah, I mean, that's all she wrote. I think that's like 3rd or 4th defeat that I suffered in this Let's Play series. Yeah, but it was pretty fun. It was very instructive on how to be, more bold and manage the troops well, and also recon ahead and see what's up ahead. Even, to the point of sacrificing a tank or two. If I have found the anti-tank gun earlier, at least before like turn 20, then I have had more success with the Shermans actually crossing the bridge and into the town. Although that anti-tank team probably going to destroy at least another one. Right, so the next battle, I think I'm going to continue using, well, I don't know about whether I'm going to be playing as Allies or Germans, but it's going to be another Italy battle, and let's see what happens. I mean, I think the attacking battles are much more interesting, as you have seen the contrast between the last day at Bur Hakim and this one. It'll be another assault mission, whether it be from the German or Allied side. So thank you for watching once again. Until next time, please stay tuned.